to the one who was 12 years old at her little brother's parent-teacher conference, to the one who learned to translate her mother's silences into instructions, to the one who knew the family budget by 16, who knew which bills were overdue before her parents told her, who was already mediating arguments she did not start, to the one who is now 28 or 33 or 41 and still, on some level, waiting for someone to ask if she is okay. This one is for you. Almost nobody told you that what you did was unusual. They called you mature, responsible, an old soul, a help, a blessing. They said it with affection. They meant it with affection. They did not understand that what they were describing was a child doing the labor of an adult, in a family system that had quietly assigned her that role before she could refuse. The label they gave you was praise. The arrangement underneath it was a curse you have been paying off ever since. The next 12 minutes will name the weight, show you where it came from, what it has cost you, and what you actually get to put down. You apologize for things that are not your fault. You walk into rooms and immediately scan for whatever is broken, whatever needs to be fixed, whatever is about to fall apart, before you even sit down. You have been the person your friends call when they are crying at 2 in the morning. Since you were old enough to have a phone, you find it physically uncomfortable to ask for help. Not difficult, physically uncomfortable. There is a body sensation, a tightening, a small heat in the chest. You have felt it your whole life, and you have never named it. You have an entire interior life nobody knows about. A worry register. A list of things that are not technically your responsibility, but that you check on anyway, because nobody else is checking. You are tired in a way that is older than the tiredness of people your age. You have probably been in therapy. Therapy has helped in some ways and not in others. And the part it has not helped is the part where you cannot stop being the responsible one, even when nobody is asking you to be. You have at some point fantasized about a year alone in a cabin somewhere, with no one's phone number. You have never seriously considered taking that year. There is a reason. Because if you took it, the things you have been holding up would fall. And even though you know intellectually that other people could catch them, your nervous system does not believe it. The story underneath is older than you. It is older than your parents. It is older than the specific family system you grew up in. Across cultures, across decades, the eldest daughter is the child most consistently assigned what sociologists call the parentified role. This is not a folk observation. It is documented. Lisa Hooper, a counselor and researcher at the University of Louisville, has been studying parentification for over 2 decades. In a 2014 paper published in the Journal of Counseling and Development, she wrote, quote, "Parentified children, particularly eldest daughters in families where the parental system is overwhelmed, learn to suppress their own developmental needs in service of the family's emotional regulation. The cost is not paid in childhood. The cost is paid in adulthood when the suppression has become an identity." End quote. What that means in plain language is this. When a family system is overwhelmed for any reason, by financial stress, by addiction, by a parent's mental illness, by divorce, by an emotionally absent father, by a chronically ill sibling, by immigration, by any large strain that exceeds the parent's bandwidth, the system reaches for the child who can most reliably help. In most families, that child is the eldest daughter, not because she is the most capable, because she is the most socialized to read emotional cues, the most likely to feel responsible, and the most likely to comply without being asked. She does not get to refuse. She does not even know there is a refusal available. By the time she is 7, she has already begun the work. By the time she is 12, she is doing it fluently. By the time she leaves home, she has internalized it so deeply that she does not recognize it as work at all. It feels like her. It feels like personality. It feels like who she is. It is not. It is the residue of a job she was assigned in childhood and never resigned from. The cost is enormous, and almost none of it is visible from the outside, which is part of why it is so hard to grieve. You did not get to be a child for very long. You watched your siblings get something you did not. Not because your parents loved them more, because by the time the younger ones came, Your labor had freed up enough bandwidth that they could be parented in a way that you could not. You watched them stay children longer. You watched them be allowed to need things. You watched them complain without consequence, and you carried, often without naming it, a quiet grief about what you missed. You learned to monitor other people's emotions before you knew you had your own. By adulthood, you cannot enter a room without scanning the temperature. You cannot have a conversation without managing the other person's comfort. You cannot sit with someone who is upset without feeling responsible for fixing it. Your own emotions are smaller, quieter, harder to access. Not because you do not have them, because you have spent so long managing other people's that you never built a strong relationship with your own. You probably married late, or you married someone who needed managing, or you avoided partnership entirely. Each of those is a different response to the same root problem, which is that intimacy in your nervous system is filed under work. You do not know how to receive care without immediately calculating how to return it. You do not know how to be loved without being useful. And the small voice inside you that asks, "But who is taking care of me?" is so old and so practiced at being ignored that you may not even hear it anymore unless something serious is wrong. What you actually are is not the role they assigned you. What you actually are is the person underneath the role, the one who never got the chance to develop in public, the one who has interests that have nothing to do with anyone else's needs, the one who has preferences nobody ever asked about, the one who would, given enough quiet, find out what she actually wants from her own life. You are not the family's emotional thermostat. You are not the responsibility bearer. You are not the one who has to hold it all together. Those were jobs. They were jobs you did with extraordinary skill. They were not you. The eldest daughter who recovers does not stop being kind, does not stop being capable, does not stop being the person people want around. What changes is the relationship between her capability and her identity. She no longer believes she has to be useful to be worth loving. She no longer apologizes when she asks for something. She no longer scans rooms for problems she could solve, because she has discovered that not every problem is hers, and the ones that are can be solved without her destroying herself in the process. She also gets her childhood back. Not the actual years, those are gone. But the parts of her that never got to be silly or messy or selfish or unrelentingly herself get to come out slowly in adulthood, often in her 30s, often later. It is never too late. The eldest daughter underneath the eldest daughter role is still in there waiting. You did not choose this. You did the work that nobody else in the system could do at an age when you should have been doing nothing more demanding than learning to ride a bike. The cost has been real. The grief is allowed. The exhaustion is real, and it is older than you have words for. You are also allowed to put it down. Not all at once. Not in one therapy session. Not in one weekend. But slowly, one small refusal at a time, one small ask at a time, one small act of needing without immediately offsetting the need, you get to teach your nervous system a new shape. The new shape will feel wrong for a while. It will feel selfish. It will feel like you are letting people down. You are not. You are letting yourself catch up to the age you actually are. This one is for you, yours psychology persona.